So we set off this morning with all our team, signing on, sorting all the cars out. All the cars have been provided by Welcome to Yorkshire, so we've got all brand new cars for the team cars, all the managers meetings, all the sort of commissaires meetings, dealing with all that sort of side of it all, and then we rolled out of here at 10:30 this morning.
The race was going to be frantic from the off, really. There's no real obvious place for someone to get away, but we needed to, in the first lap, know where the wind was to see whether we could use that to the advantage. And the USN team started with some attacks and counters and quickly kind of established some short gaps, which were then closed down. And then their efforts seemed to be replaced by our team doing some attacks and other riders, individual riders, stronger riders from other teams. And then in the second lap, I came to the front to chase down a small attack, and then once that had happened in the third lap, then there was more attacks that were necessary for me to get back to the front and chase down. And in the meantime, lead Katie Archibald out to win the final sprint, because you have 3 sprint laps. Every lap you get to go across the line first and win sprint points. There's so much to think about within a race, but it was frantic for the whole race, and when you're on the front, you're trying to keep the pace as high as you can to make sure that you keep the group a manageable size so you can move around more easily. The bigger group, especially through the technical sections in the town, it's harder to move up through there, so you want to make sure that the pace is high and riders don't get back on really if they've been dropped in the wind. So no, it was a hard race, and by the time we got to the finish, I'd kind of done my turns, with about 3k to go. There was nothing more to give, so it was hand over to the rest of the team and see what happens at the finish. I was a good few 100 metres back there, but once you get into that finishing straight, you don't often get one that's as long as it was here today, so it was great to kind of try and peer across. It's a really fantastic field of riders. We had a couple of riders from Wiggle Honda, and 4 or 5 riders from the USN team. So they worked really hard in the first part of the race, looking to set up their sort of faster riders. We had Icon Master with Louise Mahe, who eventually went on to win. She was doing some great attacks in the middle of the race as well, trying to get away in a small group. Hayley Simmons from the Velosport Pasta Montegrappa team, she's perhaps more known as a time trial rider, and one of the times I was pulling to pull back was to pull back Hayley, because she's always a threat. If you've got someone who's a time trialist off the front, they've obviously got the strength in the wind to be able to stay away, so you don't want that to happen. But no, I mean, the race was really interesting. I think by the end we had kind of like the main contenders in there. The field had been sort of taken down a little bit, and there was the riders that had come along for the ride had enjoyed that in the first couple of laps, but the pace was really, really high. So for anyone who did get spat out the back, as it were, and didn't keep up in the first couple of laps, there's nothing to be ashamed of there, because it was a really, really quick race.
There's a group of nearly 30 riders all going for the line, so with sort of 500 metres to go, a big bunch really, and then it sort of developed, and when the final sprint come, I think Pearl Izumi were really pushing quite hard. I think Icon Mazda controlled it more, speaking to the riders, and I know the winner said a gap just appeared and she just went for it. Eileen Rowe from Wiggle was really, really close. I mean, on the line we couldn't really call it was so close, but yeah, Louise just nipped in there and got the win.
Well, it was super fast from the off. It was just sort of like lined out pretty much the whole time, sort of attacks were going, nothing was sticking. So I think some teams did want it to come down to a sprint. So yeah, it sort of was quick, which I like, and everyone likes a hill in the course, but I like it quite flat. It makes it sort of, I think, hard racing the whole time. So yeah, it was really good.
Just watch your back, please, ladies and gentlemen. There's still some
and even before this race was run, Gary Verity and his team were already talking about next year and where they'd like to take the race and what they'd like to do with it. And races, especially races on closed road like this, are really rare in the UK, especially for the non-professional riders. So I think that was the great thing today, that you could have club riders racing alongside elite riders, and everyone existed happily in that field together.